Good morning, everybody. So I figure to save some time, I would take a quick video while I'm driving to the car wash. Got to get cracking on some stuff today. So there are going to be a lot of parts of this video. I'll cut in and out, just starting the content now. But if you saw it yesterday, there was a short that I posted on the Instagram channel. My personal Facebook had a bit of a situation that happened. So one of the things I've been wanting to do at the car wash has been to put in a small hand washing sink. I'd like to put a urinal in as well, but I don't really have the space for that. The facilities, it's not that far. I mean, I'm going to be done with this video. I'll be done. It'll take me longer to get to the wash from my house here than will this video. I had been waiting. I wanted to go with one of the Vevor brand because I like their stuff. Vevor brand stainless steel hand washing sinks. So I had been looking and watching because the one I wanted, which has the metal like side things to keep splashing in, had been on back order, and it finally came in, so I ordered one. It was like $88 because I have their pro discount thing. So I tried to figure out how I'm going to put this in, and I had figured out basically because the drain, I've got one spot for a drain, a fixed place. The hot and cold water are on two different walls. Well, the hot water is on the back wall. I got to run, that's a bit of a thing. And the cold water, I'm like, well, I could just drop it down from above. There's a 2-inch water line going across the top. So when I had a slow lull for like 15 minutes yesterday, because thankfully it has been very busy. Actually, 2 days ago, I had my busiest day on record. But anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So I had a lull, and I decided I was going to start working on that. And I went to Home Depot and got everything needed to take from a 2-inch down to a 1/2 inch to run the drop straight down, a bunch of other PVC to run the hot. And I got back to the car wash and waited for my lull, and I cut the 2-inch line and got everything spliced in like I needed to, and everything was fine. So a few minutes later, I'm moving things around because it was a mess in there. There was water everywhere because you cut a line, even if you drain it, you still have water. Well, so needless to say, I'm standing there, and about 2 feet down from where I had spliced in my stuff, I hear this like sound like an air leak. I'm like, what in the hell? And as soon as I look up, the 2-inch water line just blows right there. I guess the PVC had been rubbing for years against the bracket or something. I got someone Bay 1 rubbing against the bracket, and it went off. And when I say it went off, the video, which I'll link somewhere in here, I'll probably just embed it. It was hysterical, the noise that I made, and I got soaked. And I mean, if it was in the room, it got soaked. Fortunately, the electronics and everything made it through. But I called my husband because I immediately was like, I gotta go to Home Depot. I came running out here. I was drowned. And I came out here, there was a customer in Bay 1. I'm like, are you gonna be using anything with brushes? Because hot water stuff, high pressure, fine. Cold, low pressure, it was gonna be done for. As soon as what's in the tanks, which is only like 3 gallons, runs out, it's done. So he's like, no, I'm good. And of course, I look like a drowned rat. I get in the van, I like go mock Jesus down to Home Depot to get what I need. I go running in the door and was like, can I help you? And I'm like, I'm going plumbing, I know where I need. Like, it wasn't even English what I strung together for this. Grab the stuff, come back here. Husband called because we had a movie we were going to go see last night. And we had, tickets to go see Nosferatu. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it on time, which I did. Very quickly threw everything back together, got everything, and I'm like, at this point I'm filthy. I'm like, I'm plumbing the rest of this sink up, at least the cold side. So I did, plumbed it all up, and I needed to wash my hands. So I washed my hands, got on the road, and like flew home, got ready for dinner. I'm all unkempt. I was going to shave my head and everything else, but whatever. it was dinner in a movie, and it wasn't high-end dinner or high-end movie theater. So yeah. So I'm back today. I'm going to be working on getting Bay 3 open. I've got to mount a motor, give it a spin, make sure it's going to be okay. I've got some wiring. All the wiring to the bay is done. I need to do the plumbing to the high pressure side, to the pump, and I need to get all the low pressures hooked up. It's probably 8 hours worth of work if I can stick it out. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm also doing some prep for cold weather because we have this cold snap coming in, and I'm actually going to be shutting down Tuesday and Wednesday, or yes, I'm shutting down Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to come back Thursday because Tuesday and Wednesday we're going to be in the teens here, and if people, okay, I'm sorry. You know what? I appreciate if you want to come wash your car in the teens. At one point, I would have as well. From my perspective, it's going to be a couple things. Number one, the WEEP system will run constantly at below 21, I think it is. So I would literally just be peeing water down the drains. I have to turn off the foam brush WEEP, otherwise it would just be constantly blowing air. You'd never get anything out of it. So it doesn't make sense from a financial perspective. I'm not going to make enough money to cover the water I'd be wasting. Granted, it's cold city water, but still. Secondly, if people are out here, I don't have floor heat. The building has floor heat. It's not functional. We'll see if I do anything with that. It might be fairly expensive to fix. The plumbing's all roughed in. There's a leak in the loop under Bay 3, I think it is. I don't really want to have to jackhammer up concrete. Like I said, we're going to see. I've got other things I'm looking at maybe doing. Adding in doors to block some wind, some things like that. But that's a later thing. Although if business keeps up like it's been this week, it's going to be a sooner than later thing because I'll be able to afford to do all these things pretty quickly. And maybe even hire them out. With the doors, I'd hire out anyway because that would not be, no. So, yeah. I'm going to work on getting Bay 3 up. I'm going to work on my preparations for shutdown. I've already got signs made. I'm going to get the chains up over the bays. Get the diesel heater brimmed. I use about 15 gallons a week of diesel running constantly, keeping this place warm. So I'm not mad at all about that. Roughly $45 I use off-road diesel. Yeah, so I'm going to go get cracking. I'm going to try and make some content throughout the day today and bring in with this. So this is hopefully the start of that. We'll see where we go today. I'm not at the point where I'm running at breakneck pace anymore because I didn't burn myself out, but I don't want to burn myself out. And secondly, my record-breaking sales day I made on 2 bays because I had to shut Bay 1 down because a water line came off the other night and it froze up, and I couldn't get it unfrozen in time. I hated that I had people backed up, and I did have 2 customers leave, although one of the customers who drove away waiting was the guy who leaves horse shit in the bays, so I wasn't terribly upset because there's nothing worse than trying to chisel frozen manure out of a bay that's been sprayed and turned into a manure ice cube. So I'm gonna go get cracking. I will start making some content later on today, probably. Hopefully gonna try out my gimbal. I've got it with me here. I'm trying to learn, so bear with me. There's a learning curve that I didn't expect, but I think the results will pay off in the end. All right, talk to you later. All right, so we're gonna try this with the gimbal here. Again, I've been working, practicing. A bit embarrassed right now because it is an absolute mess in here. It hasn't been that way. I destroyed it a few minutes ago. So I'm going to switch it around here and give you guys a quick look at what I'm working on. It's not anything revenue-wise for the wash, but it's more of at this point, a personal comfort thing. I've got a guy washing what looks to be a new Model 3 in here right now. Not a Tesla fan, whatever. Yeah, so now that it's getting quiet in here, it looks like he's rolling out. I'll switch the other camera and show you what's going on. All right, without further ado, right now, so let's see here. Got this all cleaned up. It's a lot nicer than it was. Maybe a little wide angle here, give you a little more space, so I can't get back too far. Got this cleaned up, and I'm actually going to be putting a network cabinet, I think, on the wall right here, just a VVOR, to put all of the electronics in because of the explosion that happened yesterday. So I guess without further ado, we'll start with that. The video I cut in, the pipe that exploded was actually, that's not the right way, that right there. As you can see where I've got it. So essentially the T, that section right to the right of it, where you can see where it's riding on that mount, I guess there was a weak spot in the pipe because the T was a couple inches to the left. Yeah, that's what blew up. So the reason for that is a little bit of creature comfort here. I put in a sink. Again, it's one of these VVOR branded stainless steel, I'm working on doing the hot water right now. Got the cold water working. You have no idea how much of a creature comfort this is to have because I've been washing my hands with a garden hose. I've joked about wanting to put a urinal in here, but I legit, if I could figure out a way to get one to the right here, I might. It would be tight, but it's just me in here. But he's like, "Oh, pee in the sink," and I'm like, "I'm not gonna do that." Although sometimes it's, well, could be more convenient, but no, I want to do this the right way. Yeah. So it's a disaster in here right now because I am working on all of this. So I have to run that pipe all the way back along the wall behind both air compressors. There's a really bad angle up because I have to go over a pipe that I can't move to swing back down back there to get along here. There's the diesel heater, Hero. And it's gonna go up, and this is just roughed in, and then come up along and come over to the hot water from the water heater right there. I don't know if I've ever shown you, this is actually all of for the floor heat in the bays where it goes out, the manifold setup that's not currently in use. Will not be for a while. Got some work to do. As you see, pump one is throwing some belt dust, and that belt's actually thin in some spots, so I'm gonna put a new belt on it today. I just had somebody in there, but I gotta make sure nobody's using it, so I really need to shut the bay down. And just do some cleaning in here. Bay 4, got bay 2 here, and then I'm actually gonna be putting bay 3 down at the bottom, which kind of sucks, but that is where it's supposed to go. And if I can get the angle, you can see there's a motor back there already. I'm gonna put a new pump here on this. I just don't like being down on the ground. I'm too old and fat for this. But that's all right. It won't take too long. And I might work on that today. I'm gonna see what I can get done. Yeah, so that's kind of it for right now. Like I said, I want to do a little bit of content today. I think I showed this in the video, the makeup water system and the overflow drain, which is scavenged from, yes, I know, it is not. It's actually electrical. But yeah, so the makeup water at the bottom, you can see coming in here from right there. And then there's the overflow which just goes down to the ground. Because when the WEEP system is going right now, it's backfeeding. I have check valves to install. It's another thing to do that I'm gonna be working on hopefully today. I've got a couple of days of cold weather where I'm gonna be actually shut down. I haven't quite decided how I'm gonna handle that in terms of if I'm just gonna stay in Maryland or if I'm actually gonna come back here. I haven't decided yet what I'm gonna do. I know I gotta come back by at least Thursday, but I might, if things over there are okay, because we're gonna be in single digits, I might come back here just because of paranoia and making sure things are okay here. I shouldn't say paranoia after I've had a lot of struggles with the cold. Although I have the heat off in here right now, it's actually doing fairly well. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna play everything by ear. That said, I'm gonna get back to this because I would love to have hot water this morning to wash my hands. Part of the reason why I'm prioritizing this is because getting those bays set up is such a dirty job because these stands have a lot of grease and just nastiness, and I'd like to be able to wash my hands and get done. Talk to you later. All right, I'm gonna wrap up here a little quick video. So, day's tasking. I now have my whole sink situation here with hot and cold water. So very happy for that. Did some organization here. Put these Laurel vendors on their side actually because I could get them closer to the wall, get a little more room. There's still an old 5 bay plus my 1 bay here. The blue ones, the ones with blue tape on them are the ones that I've looked at that are serviceable as is. They just need polishing. A couple of my own I owned before I owned this car wash. But the other ones are rough in various ways. We're so close to the ocean here, you get a lot of salt spray and it's just hard on things. So while it actually is an organized pile, because there's not much behind here, it's just these things as shelves. Whatever's left of paint and some painting stuff and my general, got things moved around over here. So the second air compressor, I think is gonna, it's gonna need to go. I gotta talk to the Jiffy Lube, to the owner. That's been in here. It's a spare, it's fine. I need this space, as well as the, there's a large motor down here and then the wheel balancing machine that belongs to them that I haven't cared, but I am gonna need this space soon because this is where the IBC tote for the Spot Free is gonna go. But I have a little better access now, kind of cleaned up back here, access to my main and some plumbing running across our heat situation, and got everything going. And I am currently working on Bay 3. So the second, right here, that's where the electrical will come out of that panel, just like in liquid tight, just like these, where it runs down this gray conduit. That's going to run down to the third tray down here, which I'm in the process of cleaning. I've got degreasers sitting on that because it's an absolute greasy mess. All this back here also has really fine metal shavings I'm trying to clean up because this is where I got myself full of splinters a few weeks ago. My own stupid fault. This is where Bay 5 will eventually live, and I do have some storage in the bottom. I've got to go through those pumps and pick out, I got to make a good pump. Yeah. I've got a ceiling leak that I'm enduring here until I can get rid of that chimney. I got to get up on the roof. I don't need it anymore because there's no boiler. So I am planning, weather dependent, and I say that because I'm going to be shut down for 2 days this week because of temperatures. I'm probably not going to be over here. Who knows? But goals. This is for accountability. We'll see if I actually make it happen. So I'm going to be using Unistrut. I've got this piece. If you see how those back there, how those conduit are being held to the Unistrut clamps, I have the same thing. I'm going to have them vertically on the wall above the water feed, the 1.5 inch feed over here. And all of this mess that you see is going to run into, there are going to be 3 strips. One for my pre-soak, one for my wheel and tire, and one for my foam brush. And you're going to have each bay coming over to that. The yellow hoses. And then I'm going to shorten and clean up a lot of this. This has been temporary. It's been fine, but it's making me itch. I also have to pull apart the right manifold body on wheel and tire. You keep hearing it click and bark, air out of the pump. It's because there is either, I can't figure out if it's plastic or if I've got something going on and my wheel and tire is crystallizing inside of the solenoids, because when you pull the solenoid apart, there's crumbs of something white in it that's hard. So I'm gonna keep working at that. We'll see. It's secondary, but it needs to be done, because if those hang open, they can leak into the bays. It's not been doing it, and I've been keeping an eye on it. I'm not using a whole lot yet. New addition, 55-gallon drum of methanol, because I'm having to, all of the low pressure stuff, so the pre-soak, the wheel and tire, and the foam brush, I've had to spike them with methanol to keep from freezing, even though I have the air weep system going on here, which it's firing off right now. I keep hearing it go off. Let's see, other things that are cleanup related. I have an Ethernet disaster going on up here. These black Ethernet cables, they're for the cameras. They're carrying PoE, so there is a little bit of voltage there, but they're safe. However, I've got those big gray bundles. I have black ones coming out of the ceiling, which are what run to the actual cameras. And the gray ones, I just need to get rid of the super long, and kind of wire everything. And yes, I know I could have made my own cables, but I didn't. I punched down cables for many years for work. I'm good. If I never punch down another cable, I'll be fine. Got rid of some stuff that was over here, so I have some places to hang, like my coat and my laptop bag and stuff. And got this cleaned up. I have my coffee maker as a Christmas gift, and things in my work area. So what I'm working on right now, I made a whip for 3-phase. So you got 4 wires, red, black, blue, green. This is the Liquidtight that I was talking about that's going to go up to the electrical box with the connector coming through. I'm currently in the process of just tying my whip in. These were the old where it was cut. It actually makes it very easy for me to do the phase alignment, although half the phases have been backwards and I've had to reverse motors. It's very easy to do. You just swap 2 colors with 3-phase. You can swap any 2 and reverse the motor. But it's always irritating. It's like, oh man, I wanted to see this pump work, Yeah, so there's that. So be working on that. Working on putting together a pump. It's kind of where we're at. So, the weep system is going off right now. We are at 33 degrees outside. There's the Weep Miser doing its thing. So it's cycling 5 seconds a minute, I think it is. 55 seconds off, 5 seconds on. Air and water. So getting that taken care of. It's just city water that it does that, so it's not heated or anything else. One thing we are doing right now, because I don't have the check valves installed, is it is backfeeding through the pumps into the tank. I'm actually not mad at it because it is keeping everything, God forbid we would have a power outage in here, it'll keep the pumps from freezing up. But it was causing the tank to overflow. So what I did, and I alluded to this earlier, and I was going to buy a hose and all those things. I'm like, I have all these extra pieces of crap laying around here using. So it's just Schedule 40 electrical conduit, but I made this contraption that, I'm going to move this out of the way, that when it starts to overflow, which it probably will here in the next hour or 2, it'll just come up to the level of this and run down the floor and down the floor drain, where the rest of the water leaking from the ceiling, and actually where my sink drain ties into below. So, yeah, it's been a decently productive day, I think. I don't really know, but I'm okay with where I'm at. I've slowed down a little bit. I'm not mad to be a little slower right now. I would like to get Bay 3 open because I had a situation. So Friday was the busiest day I've had so far. Yeah, as I said, Friday was the busiest day I've had so far in entirety. Actually a lot busier than I had thought I would be at this point in time. I am very pleased. Couldn't be happier. So I'm just trying to support that. I gotta get Bay 3 going. Once I get Bay 3 opened up, I think we will be in a good way. One of the things that is coming that I think I have a plan for how to put in here. I've had 2 or 3 people suggest to me, and I actually like the idea of it. It's going to be expensive, but I think the return on investment is there. I'm trying to figure out if I can fit underbody lances, so underbody sprays, in the bays as well. I think I can do it. It's going to be a little bit weird, the way I'm going to have to tab the plumbing out in here. And I'm going to have to piggyback off of the other high pressure, but I've got enough excess power behind it. It shouldn't be too big of a deal for whatever it loses. However, I am going to give it a try and see if I can get 1 or 2 of those in here to start and see how people like them. Again, we're coastal, so people are on the beach. I think it'll really help draw some customers in and help them. And, you know, I seem to be doing pretty well in reviews so far. People like what I'm offering, so hopefully I can continue to innovate. And, you know, I'm not competing with the express washes, the tunnel washes, things like that. That's not my intent, but I am taking some of their business, I'm finding out. And at my price point, you know, I can understand why. A lot of the tunnels are very expensive around here, and I'm not in comparison. So I'm going to keep seeing what I can offer. I've still got to do spot free, still got to do air dryers in the bays, and then I think I'll be pretty much everything I can add to a bay from a room perspective. The only other thing that could be on the horizon, and this is a strong, it's a lot, is potentially putting in in-bay automatic in bay 1. It wouldn't bother me because that bay is the most problematic in terms of freezing up and everything else because of how far away it is here. However, they are hideously expensive. I would have to see my return on investment. And $300,000-ish installed, at least for the quote that I've had for a Bellinger Condor one-arm Condor. Okay. And that's really kind of a basic one without all the fancy lights and everything else, just, you know, something that's functional. So, yeah, I don't know. But if I do, okay, you know, it's a learning thing. The other thing is, once this baby gets up and going and keeps on the trajectory it's going, in the next 6 to 9 months, I think I might start looking for a second location and start doing this all over again at another location, either, you know, somewhere in Delaware or Maryland, something. It'd be nice to have something a little closer to my house in Maryland, kind of as a, you know, a branching off, but we'll see. Again, that's growth, that's down the road, and I got to see how things go, and I really need to see how my first summer goes here. But things are showing promise. So, with that, I got to go get 15 gallons of diesel and top off the tank, get home and cook dinner. Everybody have a lovely evening, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye.